なたのすべて好きさ好きさ好きさ忘れられないのあなたのすべてあなたが好きなのあなたが好きなのよだけどもあなたは誰かに恋してるこんなにあなたが好き好き好きなのに連れなくしないでもう離さない I love you I love you I love you Yes I do 好きさ好きさ好きさ忘れられないよあなたのすべてあなたのすべてあなたが好きなのあなたを好きなのよだけどもあなたは誰かに恋してるこんなにあなたが好き好き好きなのに連れなくしないでもう離さない I love you Oh I love you I love you Yes I do 好きさ好きさ好きさ忘れられないのあなたのすべて I love you I love you
I love you.
Thank you
Hey everybody, welcome to Arizona Japanese Classics. I'm Sunny, and today we are in Mesa, Arizona for the fall 2024 season opener of the Mesa Cars and Coffee. Now, I attended this show a few times last year, and since they've switched locations here to the Dana Park Village Square, they have grown considerably. Last time I were here, I think they had over 300 cars show up, so we are hoping for a big turnout today. We're hoping to see a lot of those Japanese classics. The cars are still rolling in at this point, so we're going to give it a few more minutes and we're going to start walking the line. But we encourage you to stick around because immediately after this, we're going to send you right back out to Surprise, Arizona, and show you part 2 of our visit with Greg Childs at the Datsun Ranch. That's right, he's got more Datsun goodness to share with us. So we thank you for watching. Let's get things started. We got a Datsun 240Z. This car actually belongs to a friend of mine, Dale, who is a very active member of the Japanese collector car community here in the East Valley. And it seems like we're always bumping into each other out here at these shows. And he keeps this car in impeccable condition. paintwork is really nice. Sport wheels. It's one of the favorite aftermarket wheels the Japanese classic car owners. 1970 is first year for the Z cars in the United States. And the prices of these things just skyrocketed a few years back. Maybe starting around, 5 to 7 years ago. Just soared and tapered off here lately. I mean, pretty much everything has, but boy, there for a while, these were the hottest thing going. Oh, he's even got the window sticker here for this car. In 1970, the MSRP, what is that? $3,671. I wondered if he'd let it go for that today. I don't think so. It's one of the most iconic Japanese sports cars ever produced. Just in great shape. This car did undergo a restoration a few years back, but as you can see, it still presents incredibly well. I mean, Dale has done a great job taking care of this car.
Oh yeah. This is a service light. So if you get a flat tire, you can pull this out. It's got a long enough wire that you can get around to any tire to light up the area.
So late 90s Mitsubishi Eclipse. Looks like he's a new resident from Florida. If you're wondering, if you're not from the central Arizona area and you're wondering why a season opener at the end of September, it really all comes down to the climate. Around here, most of the car show activity takes a hiatus between May and September due to the heat. So it kind of runs opposite. There's a nice little Toyota pickup. Fuel injected 22R engine. I'm not sure what happened to the hood on this one, but I've been saying for years the automakers are missing a golden opportunity not offering a compact truck of this size anymore. I think if they released something like this today, it would be a huge seller for them. But that would be a good question for the comments. What do you think? If they released a compact truck like this now, would you buy it? Or do you think most people still prefer the Tundras and Titans and the really large trucks we see nowadays? I mean, if you haul trailers and campers, yeah, you need the extra power, you need the extra stopping performance. But if you're just commuting to work or you run to the home center on the weekends, these little trucks are perfectly capable. I would definitely consider buying one. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. An Acura Integra. This is another late 90s, I would call emerging classic. Exceptionally clean.
It's a fresh dream.
There's There's actually a whole line of late model Toyota Supras right behind us. Fantastic cars, but not quite what we're looking for on this channel. Maybe in another 15 years or so. We got a Land Cruiser. I see he's got a YouTube channel as well. Yeah, let's give him a plug. Why not? Yeah, this rig looks like it's done some Arizona adventuring. It might be worth checking out, actually. He's probably taking this thing up into the mountains and off-roading. A nice little homage to the Japanese flag there. Oh, okay, so this is JDM spec. I didn't realize that at first. But wow, nice. Still has that classic Land Cruiser look to it, but I'm sure with all the modern amenities. Toyota Land Cruiser. Here is a right-hand drive Honda. This is another one of those where they've removed all the badging and nameplates from the exterior of the vehicle. Is that a thing now? That's the second time I've seen this. It's a three-door, kind of a small sport utility vehicle type of thing. I'm not sure. Is this an Element? I'm not quite sure. Might be another question for the comments board. It's got the tail lights that run all the way up on either side in the back. If you know what model this is, drop it in the comments. Oh, look at these. Look at these. I think this darker one on the left is Lexus. And then this one, I think this one is a Nissan 240. Wow. And this is at a local Cars and Coffee. I didn't expect to be seeing this today. You just never know what you're gonna see out here. Wow, these things are wild. Now, I have to admit, within the collector car hobby, I lean more towards being a purist. But man, these things look like fun. And how would you like to just jump in there and stomp on it? have a Mazda RX-7 FC 2nd generation. Ouch. Oh, my rotor bros everywhere are wincing right now. Their tears are coming down like rain. Well, this would have had, it should have, a fuel-injected 13B rotary engine in there. What are you gonna do? Turbo 2 was also an option on these models. I believe these were made between 86 to 91. Well, that's going to wrap things up here from Mesa Cars and Coffee. They did have a huge turnout here today. Somebody was saying that there was over 350 cars here this morning. So congratulations to Matt Jackson, who organizes this event. Wasn't quite the honey hole we were hoping for as far as Japanese classics were concerned, but that's okay. Things are going to pick up. Temperatures are going to keep dropping, and we're going to see those classics start coming out. There's a couple of really solid meets scheduled over the next few weeks, and I think we're going to see more and more of those vintage Japanese cars come out of their summer hibernation and get back into circulation. So like I promised you, we're going to go right back out to Surprise now and show you part 2 of our visit with Greg Childs and his collection of Datsuns. Thanks for hanging out with us. This is another more modern one. This almost reminds me of like a Riata or something, the body lines on it.
Kind of is, isn't it? Yeah, the days of the pop-up headlights. So
what do we got here? What
this
year
is a 1990 240SX. So this would be what the S chassis experts would call a pig-nose coupe. Just a fantastic little car. I've been into the S chassis cars since the mid 90s. I think I've owned 7 or 8. This one I picked up about a year and a half ago, and she was kind of a basket case. So it's just come home from paint, and as a matter of fact, it hasn't even been cut and buffed yet. But she was in pretty sad shape. The good news was it was a Arizona car, but it had just been out in the sun for its whole life, and so needed a little bit of love. So
well, I like the color. Is this a factory color?
this is
Okay,
yep.
so that I like
This
the
would be
color on this.
This would be a factory 2-tone car. I think they called it seafoam green, but I could be getting that wrong. Single cam KA engine, 5-speed. These, as anybody other than us is watching this knows, these were, if you learn to drift, you probably learned to drift in one of these. And as a result, there's not many of them left. But just a fantastic chassis, well-balanced, a great car to learn to drift or autocross or road course. They were just really, really well suited for that kind of driving. So this one's basically going to go back to 100% stock. Got the original wheels for it, ready to go back on. And just take it back to what it was when it was new.
I believe, is this your newest?
This
car?
is our newest acquisition. Yep, this is believe it or not, basically the same car that we just talked about. So
the steering wheel's on the other side.
That too, yep. So this is a 92 Sylvia. It is a They did a really cool thing with these. They came in different trim levels, and the trim levels were like what you would see on a deck of playing cards. So you had a J's, you had a Q's, you had a K's, and you had an ace, and they were the different trim levels. So this is a Q's, so it would have a naturally aspirated SR20. And I have been after this car for an awful long time.
Now, was this one already in the country when you found it?
It was. It had been imported a few years prior, and it is just, I don't really have any other way to explain this one other than it was the most perfect one I had seen. It's an original paint car, and she's a little dusty because I haven't driven her in a bit, but I always wanted one, and I saw this one, and I said, it was virtually flawless. So to find one with original paint that, again, hadn't been heavily molested was just a great find.
And what year did you say this was? A 92?
Yeah, this one's a 92.
Okay. Now, do you find that these are popular with like younger kids, maybe in their 20s, or
for sure? Yeah,
more so than the 60s, like the wagon you have?
Absolutely. I mean, I think probably the first exposure that most people get to these is playing, Gran Turismo or one of the computer racing games. And again, I probably screwed that up because my last computer game was an Atari 2600.
And we got another pickup here.
Yeah, we can't seem to get away from the pickups.
You can't be accused of not having a variety. You
and
some old stuff, some newer stuff, some trucks, small compact cars.
And if you're watching this, I'm not interested in helping you move. So. Yeah,
it would take a lot of trips in it. Well, is this a standard bed, or? This is
a standard bed.
Okay.
They did make a long bed version of this. So this is a 77 620. We've had this one for about 14 years, and it just sat for a long time because we were doing a ton of other projects, and she just kind of got neglected for a while. So this truck has a S15 SR, so an SR20 engine from a Sylvia, which would be basically the engine from this car, just the next iteration of this car. So
you're saying this thing hauls?
She moves. And it doesn't take much. I think these had 70 or 80 horsepower originally. When you bump up to almost 200, it's a huge difference. So it's fun drive. Very, very good friend up in Las Vegas, Patrick Smith from High Impact Motorsports. We were talking over pizza or wings or something one day, and I was telling him about this truck and some of my challenges in doing what I wanted to do to it. And Patrick said, well, I got an idea, because I wanted disc brakes. I wanted it lowered. But a lot of the aftermarket solutions for doing that are not terribly well thought out. And so Patrick said, well, he's an expert on the 720 pickups. So he said, I got an idea. Let's take the whole frame and throw it in the garbage, and let's put it on a 720 4x4 frame, and let's lower it, and then you'll have disc brakes and upgraded steering and a stiffer frame. So Patrick did his magic up in Las Vegas, and this was one we weren't terribly concerned about show quality, but just wanted it to be serviceable and functional.
Is this something that you take out regularly?
This one's actually fun to drive. Yeah, it's honestly, after Patrick did what he did, huge difference.
Back to the 60s.
Back to the 60s. The first 510. This is a 1968 model. And, you know, the 510s are iconic. Not much else you can say about them, but, you know, they made their mark in the racing world. They were a great commuter. They were, you know, good on gas, inexpensive, comfortable, just good A to B cars. And somewhere along the line, somebody figured out that these things actually performed very well on a track. So they've got quite a bit of good racing heritage. And this one has been in our collection for about 13 years. And it's had various iterations of drivetrain and appearance. So she's in her final form now.
And I know the prices of these, you said they were inexpensive when they were new, but they've certainly went up.
They really have. They've gone
somewhere along the line.
They've gone bananas. Again, very much a very heavily influenced by the E30, or an influencer of the E30 BMW. Three-box design. Matter of fact, the seats are from an E30. Heck of a lot more comfortable than the original Datsun seats.
And I'm sure this is one of the crowd pleasers when you take it out.
It gets quite a bit of attention. I think people like it pretty well.
I think young and old would like this car. I mean,
people like it pretty well. The paint scheme was to pay homage to the BRE cars, and that's, you know, BRE really put these cars on the map as far as their racing heritage, and that was their kind of their signature, was the two hash marks down the side. Originally would have been done in red and blue, but my favorite movie as a kid growing up was Smokey and the Bandit, and I always wanted to do a car in the Bandit colors. So my wife said, well, why don't you do both?
Okay, I mean, no screaming chickens.
No chickens on the hood. That's not a terrible idea. It's just a blast to drive. Such a fun car. Very tossable. Very, very well behaved. Now, obviously, it's been modded significantly, but even completely stock, they were just a fun car to drive. So, you know, any improvement on that is good stuff.
Right. So these look like work in progress.
Work in progress. Got a KA that's getting ready for a rebuild, and then the silver block is the RB that's going in the Z we talked about earlier. So got the head over at the machine shop right now, and we'll be reassembling this one in short order.
And you maintain all these cars by yourself, right? You don't have a personal mechanic? Or...
I wish I did. I wish I had like 2 or 3 minions. If I can't do it, I usually know someone who can. I've learned a ton. I have no formal training. But again, none of what I'm doing is super complicated. So
it's just the volume, just keeping everything.
That's it.
Run ready, and you know, just the upkeep on everything.
That's exactly right.
Let's move on to this one.
We're going way back now. So
is this your oldest?
Well, if we don't count the one that's parked out front, the yard art.
Well, we're going to count that one.
Are we going to count that one? So the one out front is my oldest.
Okay.
And the one out front is, just in case we do walk out in the sun, it is from the first year that Datsuns came to America.
Okay, 62?
So 58.
58.
58. So
I
But the
did not know
predecessor,
that.
yeah. So that would be the predecessor to this car. This is a 63. She's been in the collection for 12 or 13 years. This is Sheila, and her name's Sheila because we bought her out of Australia.
Okay.
And I can give you the short version or the medium version of how she came to be here.
Oh, let's hear the medium version.
That's what I was afraid of. So we've got some very, very amazing friends, Andy and Kathy Sola, who live in Australia. And they came to spend some time in the U.S. with us. And we were sitting up one night in the office after 1 or 2 or 5 beverages and just talking cars. And I was asking him, I said, well, where, do you guys have like Craigslist, or how do you find used cars? And he said, well, we've got a thing called Gumtree, which is like Craigslist. So we got on there and started looking. And I typed in Datsun, and this car popped up, the first car. And I said, wow, I'd like to have that for the collection. And as it turns out, it was not too terribly far from where they live. So it's midnight, 1 a.m. So Andy picks up the phone and calls the guy because it's daytime in Australia. And next thing you know, I was buying a 63 Bluebird.
At midnight.
At midnight, after a few Jack and Cokes. And I'm so glad I did, because I think, as far as the early classics, I think she's my absolute favorite. It's the one car I can always count on. I get in, turn the key, she starts right up. Just a really, really neat vehicle. I don't know that there's any other ones of this model in the U.S. If there are, I don't know about them. We did own a left-hand drive model of this, and we sold it to some good friends of ours when I bought this one. But it's unrestored. She's got some road dings and scratches here and there, but was just in great shape when we got her, and just really well preserved.
In addition to this collection, you also kind of put on a charity car show every year.
We do.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Can do. So we do an event up in Williams, Arizona called the Route 66 JDM Classic. It benefits a charity called RSK, which is Raising Special Kids. Helps out parents and caretakers of kids with special needs. And the people that run that charity are just amazing. So we got connected up with them, and they've been real good to us. So the show is always the first Saturday in October, and it's very laid back. If you've got a Japanese car, truck, motorcycle, whatever, that's 25 years old or older, then that's where you should be. And what we do is we close off Route 66. We park right on the road. Again, it's very laid back. It's a good time to get together with people in the community and just hang out and have a good time.
Well, thank you so much. That's, it's one of the shows we always look forward to every year, and it's for a great cause too. So it's a win-win. It
really is. And hope to see you guys there. You can get more information at route66jdm.com.
Okay, great. And we'll put a link to that in the description too.
Yep. And if you have any questions about the cars you saw here today, you can go on datsunforum.com. And I'm usually on there, and you can ask questions, or you can just reach out to me, or see me at the show, and we'll talk cars.
Well, thank you so much, Greg. Thanks for having us out today.
Thanks, Sonny, and hi to Wendy.
It's been amazing.